The thing is, not a lot of people really know the difference and don't really understand just how simple some of those differences are, but at the same time, it's a whole world of consequences that goes along with one way or the other.
Hi, this is Jeff Marsace, the Plain English Attorney, and I'm an author, certified Medicaid planner, and an attorney with more than 25 years of experience running my own firm. You're at the #1 place to learn about not only estate and Medicaid planning, but to get business, fitness, and general life success stories. I want to help estate planners and the general public get the tools and advice they need to stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life.
Hi, this is Jeff Marsace, the Plain English Attorney, and if you've seen my videos before, you know that I talk an awful lot about estate planning and Medicaid planning. That's my business. But the fact is, I have also been heavily involved in nonprofits and charities for the last 20 years. And I have sometimes come across this question about what's the difference between 501c4s and 501c3s. And in addition to all of my other legal credentials, I have a certificate degree in nonprofit management from Duke University. I was the Laws and Regulations chairperson for the Kiwanis District, which kind of composed all of North and South Carolina. I've looked at these issues. I've helped clients and even in a volunteer capacity, put together nonprofits. So I've done a couple of dozen of those. And so I just kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to 501c4s and 501c3s. The thing is, not a lot of people really know the difference and don't really understand just how simple some of those differences are, but at the same time, it's a whole world of consequences that goes along with one way or the other. All right, so the reason I'm doing this is there's something going on with Civitan International trying to readjust something in their bylaws to comply with 501c3 status and other stuff. And I'm thinking there might just need to be a kind of step back and take a look. But look, let's talk about what's the difference between the 501c4 and the 501c3. All right, when it comes to civic groups, most of the time, club members, what they want to do is get out into the community and perform good works. They want to serve and build up the community and help where help is needed. That's not necessarily just raising money. And in fact, the focus is often on other things. Even if it is the raising of the money, they're engaged in the activities to help raise money. So it may be Meals on Wheels, bringing hot meals to seniors. Maybe it's volunteering for Special Olympics, or occasionally, hey, there's a fundraiser, but we're baking goods and we're selling them and the money goes to help this particular organization or this particular cause. Often they are actually 501c3 causes, but the 501c4 is that civic club. So what are some of the hallmarks of a 501c4? They are often a corporation. So they're actually filed, at least in North Carolina, as a non-profit corporation. Now that means that there are no stockholders or shareholders. It's not owned by anyone, but you end up with a board that governs it. So money that's collected, it has to be used for the purposes that the nonprofit was put together. Now, this may mean administrative things and other types of expenses, but the thing is, if there's a profit at the end of the year, it's not taxed. It just stays in there and it's used for the operations. They do have to file an informational tax return with the IRS. There is a federal form to apply for 501c4 status, but it's compared to some of the other different statuses, it's really kind of minimal. And a big thing is if the organization dissolves, all of its assets has to go to a 501c3 charity. So this is the big thing. People who will contribute money to a 501c4 do not get to write that off on their taxes. That's a big thing. So The other thing is, unless there are some serious questions or reporting and it looks like maybe somebody's using the organization to steal money, or if there's excessive lobbying, there tends to not be a ton of scrutiny. Now, let's compare this to a 501c3. And when you look at what are the hallmarks of a 501c3, first, it doesn't appear like there are a lot of differences. It's also, they don't have to pay taxes. There's no profits distributed to any owners. Again, there's no owners of a 501c3. Money has to be spent furthering the organization's purpose. And when you're talking about a C3, now it's more charitable, religious, educational, scientific, literary, a couple of other main things, whereas the C4 is more of a civic or social welfare group. They do have to file tax returns, even if, hey, they're not actually paying taxes. And if the organization dissolves, okay, it has to go to a 501c3 charity, all those assets. It cannot go to a 501c4, or it can't go into the pockets of the members. So where's there a big difference? There's a much more extensive application form to become a 501c3, and that's for some very good reason, because the biggest thing that's different, people who contribute money to a 501c3 can take that as a charitable deduction on their taxes within whatever the limits are. So, oh yeah, I write a check to this non-profit 501c4 group, I don't get to write that off on my taxes. I contribute money to a 501c3 and suddenly I can. So that's the big difference. That's why there's a lot more paperwork. Now, in functioning, a 501c3 also has a lot more that they have to do to account for the money that's coming in and provide specific types of receipts to the people giving the money. And in terms of reporting, if you say you're having a fundraising dinner and it's a $200 a plate dinner, but the actual dinner would have been about, say, $45. Every attendee has to have something stating, okay, you paid $200. The cost of the meal that you got to eat and enjoy was $45. You get to deduct the $155. So they need to produce all that in order for you to get the proper tax reduction. So again, it becomes a lot more headaches and bookkeeping that the 501c4 organizations, they typically don't want to get involved with. Now, imagine all of that 501c3 scrutiny going on to an international civic group, like where a lot of the work that the members and the clubs do and the districts and all the other levels of the organization, a lot of it is focused on people volunteering their time or even raising money. It's putting on events to raise this money. You have all the reporting requirements, but you don't have a lot of the same people donating money in order to get a tax deduction. It's like you're trying to scrunch it together. So usually what I have seen and what I've seen work really well is the parent organization for all of these civic clubs will be a 501c4, just like the clubs. And now they just have the regular reporting requirements. They've got one set of books that's just for the 501c4. They have their elected board members and leadership. The main civic group is helping the clubs. That's their duty. And then they'll set up a 501c3 in order to have people give charitable contributions. And this is typically a foundation. So in other words, they take money in and then they write the checks out to other 501c3s, or they use it for that specifically charitable purpose. And now they've got their set of books, they've got their set of elected leaders, and it's not muddying the waters by trying to cram it all into one group. I want you to think about it this way. If you like riding a bicycle and you like driving a motorcycle, you're going to have a bicycle and you're going to have a motorcycle. You're not going to take an off-road dirt bicycle and try to put an internal combustion engine on it, and then have to go through, well, it's got to be, you're going to have to register both twice as a motor vehicle, but it's kind of a bicycle, and now that it's taxed this way, and it just becomes this big mess. And God forbid you get pulled over by a police officer, you're trying to explain, well, I'm only wearing a bicycle helmet and not a motorcycle helmet because I'm not actually engaging the engine. No, just two organizations that will both have similar purposes, but the 501c3 is the one that's handling the money, that's coming in, that's tax deductible, providing the receipts, and functioning as a foundation. And then you've got the civic organization that's focused on helping the clubs be the best they can be. That model worked really well. In fact, Civitan did do it that way up until January of 2006, when officially on Alabama's Secretary of State corporate work, they merged it into one group. So I hope that information helped. As always, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and we'll keep getting you good and interesting information like this, even if it's not strictly estate planning and Medicaid planning. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. Thanks, and please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life.
We hope you found that information useful and easy to understand. To keep getting this great information, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. To get even more information more quickly, follow the links below to some of our free, no obligation programs.